From the east to the west, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, oh man, it is Friday, my favorite day of the week. I hope you guys feel the same because, you know, it's the end of the week. And, you know, if you work, you know, you got your Saturday and Sunday, and you got tonight as well, too. And, you know, pretty much it's always a really good day to do things spontaneous as well, too. Just things just always come. The plan always comes together on a Friday. You know what I mean? So pretty much, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic in hand. And, you know, the first topic in hand that I have up for us today is, you guys already know there was a bunch of news going on. Where do I go first, though? We saw that Cam Newton has returned to Carolina, and that was pretty big in itself yesterday as well, too. Cam Newton coming back to the team that did draft him, and the team that he owns, like, all the records for passing, that's yards, completions, attempts, interceptions, just literally Cam Newton was the face of this team for a good decade, okay? And he was pretty wronged last year when the new regime came in. You had a brand new general manager, you had a brand new owner, you had a brand new coach, and they felt like they had to get this fresh start away from Cam Newton, a guy that had just led them to the Super Bowl 4 years prior to, you know, these guys showing up. And he was seen as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL and the best dual threat in the NFL as well, too, in his absolute prime. So, you know, Cam had a bum shoulder for a few years, a bad back as well, too. And, you know, pretty much they thought he was done. He's a has-been. Let's get up. We're over it. But Cam wasn't that bad, and everybody knew that going in. And the relationship Cam established with Carolina, it couldn't end the way that it did. And, you know, pretty much there was never anything negative that came out about, you know, them parting ways, but you know that there was some hostility there. And you know that they never really gave Cam the idea that he was going to be able to be a part of this brand new regime because they were so hell-bent on moving on from him. They were so talked into by a lot of the talking heads and a lot of the people that are just, you know, on TV getting checks to just kind of be haters. So pretty much they were talked into not moving forward with Cam. Cam goes to the Patriots. They don't have a Patriot type season, but Cam still looks decent enough to still warrant a job in the NFL. He surprisingly gets released by the Patriots because a lot of said it was because of the covet, but really at the end of the day, Bill Belichick just wanted to make sure that his rookie got a fresh start and didn't have to wait. And they just wanted to have him do a learning on the job experiment like a lot of these rookies have to do. So, you know, Cam didn't want to leave New England, but it was okay. He understands. He knows it's a business, and he went and did what he had to do to ensure NFL teams the safety to working with him as well. So they did that. And then Sam Darnold hurts his shoulder, and next thing you know, Cam Newton is headed back to Charlotte to be their quarterback. Now, he won't play this weekend, but the quarterback that they do have in place is a very good one. P.J. Thomas is a very good quarterback as well, too. He did very well over in the XFL, and I call him the greatest quarterback in Temple history. And he was Matt Rule's quarterback as well, too. Literally helped Matt Rule be put on the map as the sufficient head coach he is today. So this guy could be somebody that the Panthers could stick with if everything works out this weekend against the Cardinals. But they did sign Cam Newton to come back and be their starting quarterback. They have belief that they can make the playoffs as well, too, with the type of defense that they got brewing right now. But I'm going to be dead honest with you. This defense is not as good as it was the first 3 weeks of the season when the team was 3-0. So they have been going through some woes, some growing pains, but they're only one game out of the wild card spot as well, too. And they have that advantage over Atlanta, beating them in Atlanta 19-13 a few weeks back. So we'll see how this goes, but there it is. Cam Newton has returned to the Panthers, and I think that was automatically the right thing to do. And I had that in the back of my head that it could be great if you could see Cam Newton go back to where it all started at, and hopefully they can go ahead and right that wrong and, continue a great relationship and everything like that, because at the end of the day, they're going to build statues for this guy and all that good stuff. I know they probably won't ever get a Super Bowl out of him, but still, they're going to still pay homage to Cam Newton, who is, to me, the all-time greatest Panther ever. Because, everybody has that significant player, that one player that stands out, and he's that guy. Everybody has that legacy player that's the number one guy that ever played on the team. And Cam Newton stands out just like Jim Brown stands out for the Cleveland Browns as well, too. So, this is significant, and this is good that he's back on the team that he started with, and he's back in very friendly confines in a place where he's very comfortable at as well, too. All right, so the biggest news of the day, the Rams officially went Hollywood yesterday by picking up OBJ off the free agent market after he cleared waivers and everything. But this could be a move that really ruins everything if it doesn't go right. I'm not trying to pray or anything that it goes Ori for the Rams, but I think this was an overplay, to be honest with you. And I think that Sean McVay has put himself in a position where you better win this year, or your job is going to start being being on the line. I think that literally he's put himself kind of on a hot seat a little bit, because now you put way too much pressure on yourself to win with this unit. And I don't think that this is the type of unit that is ready to move that next step. Reason being is because Matt Stafford's never won a playoff game. Another reason being, Aaron Donald is probably your de facto best player, face of the franchise, all that good stuff. He gets help from Von Miller, but is Von Miller going to be healthy enough to still be there when the playoffs come around? Jalen Ramsey, another big-time player who is a key to the championship. I felt like everybody who was already here were very good for the chemistry that they have going. Now they're bringing in these superstars, and yes, they're superstars, but will they be able to blend in? Will they be able to will they be able to be team players? Will they go away from being me first guys? Because everybody was talking about free OBJ from Cleveland, and there was no issue in Cleveland but him dropping passes, him not finishing routes, and him pretty much, just going about it and just being cool, just being another guy in the NFL. So then you have to have family members and celebrities come out to say free you and all this stuff. You know how I feel? I feel like the Browns have been freed of OBJ, because ever since he got there, it seemed like they had to make a certain section to make sure he was happy. And I don't think that any team should have to go through that at all. Every team, it's a privilege to play in the NFL. Now, he is a good locker room guy. He's a likable guy. I'm not saying that he isn't, but I'm just saying his actions on how he goes about things are very immature, and everybody can kind of agree with that part as well, too. He was literally kicked out of New York because they felt like once they signed him to that big deal that they were automatically duped because he kind of played around with that season and made it more about his outside image than actually producing on the field, then winds up getting hurt as well too. And then, the infamous picture in Miami, bye week, we're about to go play in the playoffs, all that good stuff, shirtless men, all just extra. So that kind of was that did him in New York. And literally the guy hasn't done much since the catch on Sunday Night Football. And that's about it. And he's had the right type of productivity for top 10 receivers and everything like that. But you guys are talking about the guy as if he played in the Super Bowl before. The guy has played in one playoff game and was absolutely a ghost in that game. So you guys have to understand he's coming in as their wide receiver 4. He's not going to just jump over anybody in this room. What he does is he adds to the mix to a team that's on the brink of possibly winning a Super Bowl in their home, SoFi Stadium, this season. He did add a big part, and this is identical almost to when the Bucks added Antonio Brown. But it's different in a sense because you had OBJ, who was really in a spot to where they were already trying to chase a Super Bowl, already trying to chase a ring and everything like that. So he wasn't like playing for a mediocre team. The problem is that him and the quarterback just didn't see eye to eye. It's that simple. And I know that Baker is not, there's no hard feelings from Baker. There's no hard feelings from OBJ. It just didn't work at the end of the day. And when you have a blue collar team like the Browns and now they're a good team, they have to have blue collar guys on the team. They can't have guys that are divas. And him coming to LA is absolutely perfect because Sean McVay knows how to adjust to divas. He knows how to coach divas, and he has plenty of them on the team, but they all show up on Sundays and play really good football. This team is starting to remind me of kind of the 1995 Dallas Cowboys, the way that they're just adding in all these superior players and they expect to win a championship this year and everything. And they're doing their absolute best saying that they're all in. They've mortgaged the future. There's a lot of draft picks that have been traded and have been traded over the last few years to get this team. But I just really do think at the end of the day, everybody on this team is now going to have to really be able to take the pressure that comes with this type of roster. Matt Stafford has never had a team this good that he's played for. And I think that at the end of the day, it begins and ends with his success to make sure this team is going to be successful. Okay. And I think that, you put a lot on, Stafford now, because thing is, Jared Goff got these guys to the Super Bowl, and he didn't have to have this awesome of a roster, but it was identical though. He had a lot of good players like Sammy Watkins, Todd Gurley, who was the best offensive player on the team at the time. So, I think that the work is not done yet, and this should be a good little fun journey with the LA Rams. But you do respect the fact that the Rams have went all in and they're matching the criteria of what it is to be a popular LA team. And that's bringing in the best. That's what bringing in guys with big names. And that's to make sure that you can fill that house up and have them butts in the seats and not have this situation where you're feeling like you're 60-40 with the road team. So the Rams have now kicked down the door, and now they can take a seat right next to the Raiders as LA's football team. So there it is with OBJ to LA. It should be some fun stuff, but we'll see how everything shapes up. He should probably be playing next week. I doubt that he'll be playing this weekend, but they'll have a lot of camera shots of him this weekend in his new Rams gear as well too. So you guys be prepared for that part as well. And it's gonna be on Monday Night Football, so half the game will be about him. All right, so we move forward and let's go ahead and talk about Raider business. And the Raiders did go ahead and they replaced their big time first round draft pick from 2020, that being Henry Ruggs the third, a guy that was absolute beast coming out of Alabama, and winds up having an unfortunate situation with a car accident in Las Vegas, and a young lady was killed and her dog as well too. So pretty much at the end of the day, Raiders can't do much for the guy. He can't play for the Raiders at this point, so they have to go ahead and release him. So what do the Raiders do? The Raiders go to New York, and actually New Jersey, but they go play against the Giants in a game that was seen kind of as a must-win for the Raiders. But what a lot of people have to understand is that the Raiders have never done that well going back east, and they were going against a team that pretty much is getting tired of losing. So they went again. So they went out there and they botched a lot of third and shorts. The Raiders could have won this game by 20 points, but thing was they couldn't finish on third and short. So what happens is they lose the game by 7 points. Even though they were up at multiple points of the game, they still lost the game after having a very impressive 2-game winning streak going into the game with their brand new coach, Rich Bisaccia. So now you bring in Deshaun Jackson, a guy that he was a guy a little disgruntled in LA. He didn't chirp and make it loud, but he did talk to the front office and he did ask for his release. And so he was released. And pretty much he comes back around, and he's a veteran, so it wasn't hard to get rid of him. So he had his choice, but everybody had this idea that finally he would go to the team that he has always professed on liking a lot and loving, and that's the Raiders. And he wound up signing with the Raiders like immediately right after Sunday's game. So him coming to the Raiders and him wanting to come to the Raiders weren't like jumping on his phone, jumping on his line, but Mike Mayock knew the timing was perfect for this. And pretty much now they have a veteran leader in that wide receiver room, which has been utterly needed for the Raiders. They got a lot of young receivers, but they didn't have a savvy veteran. Willie Snead doesn't count. Willie Snead is a good guy, but we all know he's a guy who's a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. You know what I mean? And he's a guy you put out in 4, and he's not one of those guys. But Deshaun Jackson is an absolute West Coast legend. He's an absolute NFL legend, and it's like right on time. You know what I mean? But if, say, somebody like Al Davis was still alive, Deshaun Jackson would have been a Raider. But all in all, they got him now. And I think that this guy can really pay dividends. And by already having him ready to suit up to Sunday night in the big Sunday night football game, goes to show you how excited he is to be a Raider. But hopefully that excitement doesn't turn into frustration, because once again, he will probably be put into the same scenario he was in Los Angeles, because the thing is, you can only have him run. He's a gadget type player, and it's a gimmicky route type guy. It's a guy that he has to read the coverage and then he can blow you up. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. But when he does do it, he'll blow you up. And you know what? Deshaun doesn't drop passes either. So that's something that works out very well for Derek Carr. And the Raiders do lead the league in 20-plus yard pass plays as well too. They're getting a lot of those long plays, big chunk plays. And that's why the Raiders are sitting here at 5-3. A lot of people shouldn't be surprised. They're playing really good all-around football as is. And I think that this was a much better fit for Deshaun Jackson from day one going into the season than the Rams, because the Rams have different intentions and everything like that. And the Raiders, I just think that with him already wanting to be a Raider, It's gonna be a lot of fun over at the Death Star for the remainder of the year if everything works out. Because this guy is a guy that can get frustrated and kind of get off of his game and become a distraction if he gets a little too angry. So we'll see how it goes. He's dealing with the interim coach as well too, so we have that part. So there it is. There it is. That's my little scoop because we had a lot of news come through yesterday. So we're sitting here now, as you guys can see, D-Jax headed to the Raiders, playing Sunday night as well too. Replacement for Ruggs. That should be really good. When I get back, we're going to talk some college football Friday night. And then I got the NBA for you guys as well too. And then we have Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back, and now it's time to talk some sports. We done got all the gossiping and all that extra stuff out the way, but we had to talk about it. You know, these are big moves in the NFL. All 3 of those teams are in playoff contention right now as well, too. So those are monster moves with guys who are seen as possible Hall of Famers down the road as well, too, except for maybe OBJ. But I think that Deshaun might do enough to get there, and Cam's getting there is without a doubt. So, pretty much it is what it is. But let's go ahead and jump into it. We have ourselves a very intriguing matchup tonight with the Cincinnati Bearcats. The Cincinnati Bearcats are the Rodney Dangerfield of college football right now. They get no respect. This team should be I really think they should be the number 1 team in the nation just to have some fun with it, because the thing is, this team has not lost, and they've dominated teams just like Alabama does, just like Georgia does, and they've been undefeated for a while. As soon as Bama lost, they didn't even think about it. They automatically put Georgia number 1. And then they have Cincinnati as number 2 until the polls come out, until the CFP committee comes out with their top 4. Then all of a sudden, Cincinnati's not even in the group anymore, and they're at 6. So they got to keep climbing a mountain to get into the Final Four, knowing that they have the best opportunity to go undefeated out of everybody in this top 5 group. Ohio State's already lost. Bama's already lost. And Georgia could slip up anytime because Georgia doesn't have the world's greatest offense. You know what I mean? Georgia has a decent offense. They don't have an offense that you say to yourself, oh, my God, they're going to come and kill us like Bama does. You know what I mean? Because Bama is a different beast. They're a machine. And I think that Georgia gets one side of the ball. That's the defensive side of the ball, because they are an epic defensive unit. They're a historic defensive unit this year, because it's been all about offense and who has the better offenses the last few years to win a championship. But no, this year, this team has the defense, and they got a good enough offense to go ahead and run the table. But then at the end of the day, they do have to think about the championship game and playing against Alabama. So they have to win out to really be able to get into the CFP, because quite possibly they lose their championship game against Alabama. You don't want to talk like that, but it's really, it is what it is at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So pretty much that's what winds up happening. So, I think that Cincinnati has to impress tonight. They have to be really good because they're going against one of the lower tier teams in their one of the lower tier teams in their conference too. South Florida is not a good team at all. They're a team that I wouldn't say they're rebuilding. I don't know what they're doing at South Florida. They're just playing football. So pretty much Cincinnati comes in here. It's a toughie though. It's a road game. So games like this have wound up doing in AAC teams, Friday night road games against lowly teams. So the Bearcats better be on full attention. They're a 23.5 point favorite tonight as well, too. So they have a lot of things working in their favor, but they also know that quite possibly if they don't bring their best, they can get beat. And that's not because the AAC is a great conference. It's just simply because that's how sports work and that's how football works. So they have to bring their A game today because Friday night is always a very moody night for a lot of these top teams. So Cincinnati coming in number 5 in the nation, 9-0, and they only have so many more games to go before the end of the year. And they just got to, and to me, I think that to impress the committee most, they had to really, really blow teams away. And I think that will be very helpful for this team moving forward. But I think that they don't get duped like Central Florida did. I simply say this, and I've been saying this. Reason why is because they don't get duped because they are more of a traditional team in college football. They were winning games 50, 60, 70 years ago. And when you have a team like Central Florida that pops up in the last 20 years, they're not going to give them the same love they would give Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Cincinnati has played in major conferences. They kind of took a step back going to the AAC, and they possibly could have just went to the Big 12, but they went to the AAC to start a brand new conference. And pretty much that's what it is at the end of the day. So we got ourselves a good game. I think it's going to be a scoreboard watching game, if anything. So there it is. That's going to be Cincinnati and South Florida for you tonight. Now we move on to another really fun game. That's going to be the Wyoming and the Wyoming and Boise State game. You have a Wyoming team coming in here trying to get themselves a nice win and a nice upset win, and then you have Boise State trying to get things back together. Both teams are 5-4, but surprisingly, you have a 14-point favorite in Boise, who has not been the Boise State that we all have came to know and really admire. I mean, they're always a good cash cow. But you know what? Boise State, good win last week. They beat up on Fresno State, a team that was seen as the best team in the conference about a month ago after they beat UCLA. And then they beat Colorado State as well, too, another really good team. And both of these were road wins. Now, they were upended by Air Force at home, and they lost to BYU as well, too, by 9. But, they've been decent. But their last 2 home games, though, have resulted in losses. So that should give Wyoming some confidence coming into this game. But Wyoming has dropped their last 4 out of 5, but they did get a huge win against Colorado State. But today, though, this will be different. This team comes in here. They have they have matching records, and we all know that Wyoming and Boise State are rivals. They've been going at it for a long time. So this game is not going to be a walk in the park for Boise State, but it's not going to be a game where the Wyoming comes in there and can make mistakes and still try to win the game. This game has to literally be perfect for Wyoming to really, really see themselves as the victor tonight. But they can't cover, though. I know that's possible because they haven't been blown away in the last 5 games at all. Their biggest loss was a 17-point loss to Fresno, and they only gave up 17 points that day. So that should give you a little bit of confidence in this group that they should do well today. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But Wyoming should be some fun money tonight. I like them on the spread, to be honest with you. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. And so pretty much there it is with that. And we move forward from there. So let's go ahead and get into our NBA for tonight, the NBA Friday night. And NBA Friday night starts off like this. We're going to go ahead and get into this Bucks and Celtics game tonight. Bucks and Celtics, this should be a fun one. You got two teams that are seen as playoff teams in the East, but they're not playing they're not playing A1 basketball at this point. But they have time. They have plenty of time. Yeah, the Bucks who are 6-6, the Celtics who are 5-6 right now. When you look at the month of November, you have a Bucks team that's 3-2, and then you have a Celtics team that's going to be right now in the month of November. They are in this month. The Celtics are 2-2 this month. So that is something that you look at, that it's still early in the month, but this game right here is going to be one of those ones that can go either way. And actually, I'm sorry, they're 3-2, and they've actually won their last 3 out of 4 after opening up the month with a 14-point loss to the Bulls. But they've been really good in their last 4 games. They only lost by 3, which was a buzzer beater to Dallas last Saturday. So Boston's feeling themselves. They're feeling pretty good. They come into this they come into this one with a nice win, over Toronto. So, you know, it should be good tonight. We'll see how it goes and see how it shakes out. But I really do feel like this one right here is a scoreboard watching game. And I think with the way that Boston's scoring points this year at a high clip, and you do have the Bucks in and out of scoring, it depends on how they're grooving that night. I think tonight is a game, since it's going to be on national television, that winds up going back and forth, and they'll wind up having this game go over tonight because it's a good number to go over at 211. So we'll see how this one shapes up and see how it goes. But that's where I'm going with this one right here. This is going to be a real good one tonight. I can feel it. So there it is with that. And we move forward with the Kings at the Thunder tonight. The Kings at the Thunder. Should be a good one. You got 2 below radar teams that everybody's really not that we're very concerned about, but you do have a Kings team that's 5-7, but they've been struggling here in the month of November. They've actually dropped 4 out of 6 games, and they did have a good little back-to-back wins last week against at home, but this week they've lost to Indiana, they've lost to the Suns, and they also lost by 19 points the other night to the Spurs. So this is the second game of their 4-game road trip. So pretty much you do have a Kings team that is going to kind of get a little bit of a breather here in the next few days, because they got Oklahoma City tonight, and then they got Detroit Monday, and then they play Minnesota on November to end the road trip, and back home on the 19th of November. So the Kings want to get these next few games because they want to build confidence to try to get into that 8th seed this year. They got the talent to be there. They got the good coaching to be there. The only thing is they have to make it happen. So we'll see how it goes with the Kings. But this is a spot that I said to myself, the Kings should dominate it. I know that things are actually getting a little better for the Thunder as well, too. They've actually won 3 out of 4 games here in the month of November, and they're playing much better basketball than at the beginning of the year a few weeks back. So they come into this one very confident, but I think tonight they're going to be a little overconfident because I know they think that they can really beat up on a Sacramento team. And Sacramento, knowing that they're coming in here with the 3-game winning streak, they're going to play with a very intense mentality tonight. So this game is going to wind up being pretty good, but I think what happens here is that they're going to oversell the Thunder, and the Thunder, to me, aren't good enough yet for you to just really believe in what they're doing. These last 3 games that they won, they were really good wins, but they they were games that went back and forth, and they were able to finish very well. I think tonight Sacramento jumps all over them, and they don't look back. So that's why I think Sacramento with the 4.5 should be some good money tonight. But this is going to be a toughie though, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But with that, I move forward from there, and let's see what I got for you guys coming up next. So you guys see that pretty much we got the Kings and OKC tonight. Very low, very under the radar game tonight. Now we move on to the Suns and the Grizz tonight, and we got a matchup between Ja Morant and Devin Booker tonight. And I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that. You have the Grizzlies as a slight doggy dog, plus 105 tonight. And the Suns have been absolutely killing it to start this season off. They've been very, very good in the month of November, and they've been dominant in the month of November. They're 5-0 this month, and they're 7-3 on the season as well too. And then you have a Grizzlies team that's 6-5 on the year, and they're coming into this game winners of their 3 out of 5 in the month of November, but they've dropped their last 2 out of 3 as well too. This team went under a few games about 3 games in a row this month. Then the last 2 games, there's been some scoring barrages going on, but Charlotte is one of the teams in the league that scores a lot of points. And also Minnesota scores a lot of points as well too. Now, Phoenix is a much better unit than they were a couple years back defensively, actually very good defensively. So tonight, this game is going to be played like a playoff game in a sense to me. The 222.5 is a bit much for me on the over-under. I think that actually stays under tonight, but I think that we're on to something here with a very, very good matchup tonight with the Suns and the Grizzlies, with a lot of really good role players involved, in my opinion. And we'll see if DeAndre Ayton's going to play. It's a 50-50 right now from what I'm seeing, but most likely he's going to be out tonight. So you have to put that into your notes as well, too, that the Suns are going to be without their very dominant big man. So we'll see how it shakes out. We'll see how it goes, and we move forward from there. And we have to talk about, we're going to talk about the Hawks and the Nuggets tonight. The Hawks and the Nuggets should be a fun game. You got Jokic coming back after his incident with Markieff Morris. So they got that well over them and everything like that. The players have given it up. And I don't think the fans have, but the players are over it. So, they'll probably have a big hug and embrace when they see each other again when they play in Miami in a month or so. But all in all, you got a Hawks team that's absolutely dreadful right now in the month of November. Don't blame the coach. I just think that right now they ran into a very tough portion of their schedule. When you look at their losses, Brooklyn, Utah, Phoenix, Golden State, Utah, all teams were playoff teams last year and have top records in the NBA right now, even though it's very early in the season. But they did get a win over Washington, who right now they got excited about this other night, and I literally almost threw my TV out the window. The guy was like, "You guys are the first seed in the playoffs with 8 wins." I'm just like, dude, it's November. Like, don't even get that. Why are we even looking at playoff picture yet? Like, seriously, that just sounds dumb. But there's a lot of silly things you'll see on NBA TV on a daily basis. So, just be prepared for that. Don't get too wrapped up in your feelings over that. That's just how they do things nowadays. All right, so we got a Nuggets team that did beat the Pacers by 3 the other night, and they've won their last 3 games in a row after dropping their first 2 games of the month against Memphis it wasn't a back-to-back, but they played Memphis twice in a row at Memphis. So they were 2 very close games, and they wound up losing them both, but then they came back and they've won their last 3 in a row, and they have 2 more home games before they go back onto the road, and then 2 more home games right after that. So literally this is more, they have a lot of games at home this month, and they want to just keep the mojo going at the house as well too. So, Denver's going to be tough tonight. The Nuggets should be right there in the thick of things. I think with not having Jamal Murray, though, the Nuggets become kind of a team that you have to kind of think about a little bit and be like, I hope they can show up, because this can wind up being just like the Cavs game for them tonight, where they get caught slipping and they lose by double digits. So tonight, the Hawks, they want to get this thing right, and they don't want to get too far down losing and everything, because then it comes back to the coach. And I think Nate McMillan is the perfect fit for the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks went through the same scenario last year after the first few weeks of the season, where they just kind of dropped off for about 3 weeks, and then they got things back together and wound up being the 5th seed in the playoffs last year. So, don't think that the season's already in peril. It's just the first half of the year. Everybody's going to go through their rough patch. And right now, the Hawks are going through a rough patch. It is what it is at the end of the day. All right, so we have our next game up, which is going to be a fun one as well, too. This one is going to be probably the game of the night, the Bulls and the Warriors. The Bulls coming to this game red hot, and the Warriors coming to this game red hot. The Bulls have a lot of former Lakers as well, too, that are getting a lot of national attention now. Caruso is getting the same amount of lure that he did in Los Angeles. So he's a legend in 2 cities now. And then Lonzo Ball has finally came all the way into his expectations of what you assumed he would have been in Los Angeles. But thing is, there wasn't any patience in Los Angeles. So he took that show and polished up his style down there in New Orleans. Now he's in Chicago with a lot of young guys, just like he was in Los Angeles with the Lakers. But this time around, though, he's not playing with a bunch of rookies and first-year players. He's actually playing with guys that have been in the league for a while, established, and played in the Olympics, All-Star games, things of that nature. And this is working out to perfection for Chicago right now. They are in a good spot, and they have just they've won 3 out of 5 this month, and they've won their last 2 in a row. So they're going to be a tough out tonight against the Warriors, who have really been picking on some really bad teams, man. These teams that they've been beating up on most of them aren't going to the playoffs this year. Okay, they're 5-0 this month, but the only team that you can say that they beat that's very credible in this group is Atlanta. Everybody else is still a show and prove situation. So this tonight could be the game where the Warriors run into a bit of trouble, because they're going against another very talented team. So with that, I think we can go ahead and be comfortable enough with the Bulls as the dog of the day. And that's what I'm going to do with the Bulls today. And I feel good about that with the Bulls today as well, too. So dog of the day will be the Chicago Bulls. And there it is. There it is. All right. So pretty much that's going to be a wrap on my games for the NBA Friday night. And let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. All right, so Talkin Tickets. All right, so today's tickets are going to be this. Under 59, Cincinnati and South Florida tonight. We got the plus 14 with Wyoming. Then I have a 36-1 ticket for you guys tonight. Over 211 with the Bucks and Celtics. We got the Kings needing them to win by 5 points tonight. I got them with the 4.5. And then we have the under 222.5 with the Suns and the Grizzlies. And then we have the plus 4 with the Hawks. And then we have the Bulls money line plus 185. And that's going to be the Talkin Tickets for tonight. So hopefully we get all 7 home tonight and have ourselves a good start to the weekend. Okay. So with that, I'll see you guys Monday at noon. And I'll have Jeff with me as well, too. We'll be talking about NFL Sunday and all that good stuff, and NBA games and college basketball, the opening weekend, on how the landscape is early in the season and all that good stuff, and much more. So you guys make sure to tune in, and you guys are the absolute best, as I always tell you. So you already know what time it is. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production,